This is the Epomaker Cypher 81. It's a newly released 75% mechanical keyboard, but is it worth it? Let's find that out. But before we get into the video, I do want to mention that this keyboard was sent out to me by Epomaker, but I'm not being paid, and every opinion given is mine and mine alone. So without further ado, let's get into the unboxing. So when opening the box, the first thing you'll see is a manual. Right under that is the keyboard itself, wrapped in a nice soft plastic bag with a pretty thin plastic dust cover. In the box are also a few accessories, like this pretty long USB-C to USB-A cable, an unbranded keycap and switch puller, as well as 3 extra switches. Now with all that out of the way, let's get into the build of the Cypher 81. The case of the Cypher 81 is made from an ABS plastic, making this keyboard not feel super light or cheap, but also not very heavy, coming in at just above 2.5 pounds. The case is white and has a nice layer design, which is quite simple, but definitely adds to the look of the board. The layer design also makes this keyboard pretty tall compared to other keyboards that I've used, so if you're someone that likes using wrist rests for your keyboards, this is definitely the keyboard that you're going to want to use one for. On the top right of the board is a small square screen, which shows the date, the time, even though for some reason it's in military time and I don't think you can change that, as well as a little battery life indicator and what connection the keyboard is currently connected through. To the right of the screen is a pretty nice silver and white knob, which as I'm sure you can guess can be used to change your volume up and down on your PC, but could also be used to mute your PC's audio. Under the knob and the screen is a little RGB bar which can be changed from a variety of different effects and colors by clicking FN plus caps lock to change the effect, FN plus A to adjust the brightness, and FN plus S to change the effect speed. Moving to the back of the keyboard is a switch for changing between the Windows and Mac modes, a USB-C port for charging the 4000 mAh battery and using the keyboard wired, and another switch for changing between the Bluetooth and 2.4 GHz connection, as well as using a cable and turning the keyboard off. On the bottom of the Cypher 81 are 4 small rubber feet for preventing it from sliding around, and 2 two-stage feet for if you prefer a fully angled typing experience or a half-angled one. There's also a slot for storing the USB dongle right below the right kickstand, which I always like to see because when I store my keyboards, it's nice to keep the dongle and the right keyboard actually together. When it comes to keycaps, the keycaps on the Cypher 81 are made from a double shot PBT material, making them resistant to wear and tear. As well as that, they're also cherry profile, which is generally one of the most loved profiles. They're a really pretty white, light blue, and lilac color, and are quite comfortable thanks to them being cherry profile. When it comes to switches, you have 2 options, either the Epomaker Flamingos or the Epomaker Wisteria V1s, I think that's how you say that. My Cypher 81 only has the Wisteria switches, so I'm only going to go over those today. The Wisteria switches feel extremely nice to both type and game on. They're linear, which has always been my favorite type of switch, and are pre-lubed, which genuinely makes them sound great. They also have a starting force of 45 grams and an end force of 62 grams. When it comes to the lifespan of these switches, the Epomaker website claims they have a lifespan of 5 million clicks, but I'm not sure how accurate that actually is because that's quite low for a normal mechanical switch. Whether that's accurate, I'm not completely sure, but that's probably something to keep in mind. If you don't like the switches that come with the Cypher 81 and would like to change them, however, the PCB is hot swappable for 3 and 5 pin switches, which means you can just pop out the switches that are in it and replace them with almost any other mechanical switch. The stabilizers in the Cypher 81 are pretty good. They're plate mounted, which is great for if you want to mod them or just completely replace them because they're really easy to take out. They're all pre-lubed, which makes them feel super nice and smooth. However, I do wish there was a bit more lube on the space bar because it does feel a little worse than all the other stabilizers. But again, if you have any stabilizer lube just laying around, you can just quickly and easily pop them out and lube them real quick and put it back in. That's probably what I'm going to do. So with all that being said, here's a quick sound test of the Cypher 81 with Wisteria V1 switches. Throughout the whole case are a plethora of silicone and foam pads, which makes this keyboard sound really full and reduces the hollow sound. But to go along with that, the PCB and top plate are also gasket mounted. The gasket isn't the squishiest one I've seen, but it does make the Cypher 81 sound just that little bit better, as well as making the typing experience just that little bit more soft and bouncy. Under the switches are the south-facing RGB diodes. They get pretty bright and can be changed per key to almost any color you could think of. You can also choose from a decent amount of preset effects as well. I personally keep mine on this really pretty light purple, which I think goes incredibly well with the color scheme of the keycaps. The pulling rate on the Cypher 81 is 1000 Hz while wired or through the 2.4 GHz dongle, and has a latency of 12 milliseconds, which is relatively common for a non-gaming focused keyboard and is fast enough to never notice it. And the Bluetooth 5.0 mode has a pulling rate of 125 Hz and a latency of 20 milliseconds. The Cypher 81 comes in at a price of only $90, which is quite impressive for everything that you get. But is it worth your money? That's up to you to decide. Personally, I've really enjoyed my time with this keyboard. I genuinely truly recommend it, and I'm very grateful to have it added to my keyboard collection. So if you've made it this far, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.